I was in Iraq and also teach something about the coding stuff. That's why it's more practical, I think, because that is more likely to design a smart contract. I think today's topic will be more general, so that will suit everyone. That will be much more in high level, but I think it will be great. Yeah.
Yes, of course.
We're looking for it.
We met before in Hub 200. I don't know if you remember me.
Yeah, of course. And I also remember a lot of friends comes to Hub 200 and also learn the codings and bring computers. So that's great. Yeah.
Yes.
Let me remind everyone, we're going to start in 5 minutes. You can turn on captions through your Google Meet.
Or take notes by using Gemini.
You can do that also.
Oh, sure. I will speak slowly when I doing the presentation. I think that will be helpful. Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Welcome everyone who's joining right now. We're going to start in 3 minutes. I think you can start, Mr. Wu. The stage is yours.
Okay, thank you. I mean, first, really appreciate your help and also really appreciate to invite me to give this, I think, general topics about blockchains. So today my topic will be blockchain technology, innovation, and thinking. I hope you can see my screen. So I will do a general introductions about myself. So actually, I'm a coder. So I started coding at the year of 9. So at that time, I do not have a computer. So I code on my e-dictionary. I actually graduated from Canada. I get my bachelor and master degrees in computer science from University of Alberta. And also I do my own startups called White Matrix in 2018. And yeah, I think in the past 8 years, I just contribute to the Web3 industry. And also I got fundraising for 4 times. Last round, we get investment from Alibaba and Hashkey. And for myself, I'm also doing some research and also academic stuff. I'm the co-PI from the University of Wollongong, the Blockchain Innovation and Analytics Labs. And also I'm the vice directors at the CUHK's Metaverse Labs. I also I write, I think, around 20 papers. And also my Google citation is around 2,000. So all the work I have done, I have done it in practical. I do the coding by myself and also do some research, do some math, do some experiment, and do everything about blockchain and Web3. Yeah, so it's quite different for the Web3 people. I mean, in the Web2 world, they usually ask, where are you graduate? Have you got any PhDs? How many papers have you published? But for the Web3 people, what we have contributed to the communities and what we have built for our products, this is really a kind of honor and proud for us. For example, this is for 2022. I got the Pope from Ethereum Foundations, which means my code was merged into Ethereum.org. And also I built a lot of interesting stuff like Matrix Sword, like Fanta Bear, like CryptoC. All these are kind of the metaverse and also NFT projects. And I write code for them, and all of our partners and our collaborators got good feedbacks. And also I joined a lot of Ethereum events like Ethereum Dubai, Ethereum Riyadh, Ethereum Belgrade. For myself, I travel all the countries around East Asia to Middle East because I really find this is kind of interesting market. A lot of good builders and a lot of good coders, they love to learn and they want to learn what's happening about blockchain and Web3. So today my topic will divide into 3 parts. The first part will be a brief introduction to blockchain technology. The second part, I will talk about today's blockchain innovations. And the third part, I will talk about some thinking about the blockchain future. So the first part will be a brief introduction to blockchain technology. I found many definitions actually from different magazines, from different people, but I think the definition from The Economist is one of the best ones. It is from the cover articles from The Economist. It is actually the promise of the blockchain, the trust machine. So actually, they define the blockchain technology as a technology that can create trust. This is very different from all the other technology we have ever used. Let's see some quotes from some big people, from some expertise. For example, The Economist, the trust machine, this article, they said, this innovation carries a significance stretching far beyond cryptocurrency. The blockchain let people who have no particular confidence in each other collaborate without having to go through a neutral central authority. Simply put, it is a machine for creating trust. And also we see the CEO from Nasdaq, Bob, is that as blockchain technology continues to redefine not only how the exchange sectors operates, but the global finance economies as a whole, Nasdaq aims to be at the center of this watershed development. And also we see some JP Morgan's report. It said the contrast lends support to ideas that some investors and previously invest in gold ETF, such as family office, may be looking at Bitcoins as alternative to gold. So a lot of people buy Bitcoins. Also, they think this is an alternative to gold. And also we see the IMF chief Lagarde said, many of you heard about not only Bitcoins, but also blockchain, that unbelievable technology that underlines the Bitcoins of the world at the moment and how incredibly convenient it will to be actually generate trust and identify players and whatever procedure they decide to use. So we see these kind of giants, I mean, great people, they have their own ideas and their quotes about blockchain and Web3. And many people may still ask, okay, can you give me a definition of blockchain? Because this is like the blockchain 101. So let's go through these questions. Blockchain 101, what is blockchain? So blockchain is a new application mode of computer technologies, such as distributed data storage, peer-to-peer transactions, consensus mechanisms, and encryption algorithms. It is essentially a decentralized distributed database. Anyone can become a node of this huge network as long as they set up their own server and access a blockchain network. So actually, I do this topic in many universities. And actually, a lot of students, they still understand. They said, okay, you give me a kind of a definition from Wikipedia, or you give me a definition from ChatGPT. But for myself, I still do not get it. I still do not have any concept about what exactly is the blockchain. So for myself, I create a small example. I think this small example is pretty clear to me, and it can help you to give you a general concept about blockchain. So this example is called From Tom to Blockchain. Let me check someone. Oh, no. Okay, it's good. So imagine a group of kids bragging about their coolest adventures. So one kid called Tom, he claims that I once fought a dragon and won. The other kids hear about this and get excited. So to make sure everyone remembers these epic tales, I mean, these kind of interesting stories, Tom shares his story with his classmates, his family, and even posts it online. Let's say Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. Now everyone knows that Tom, okay, he claims that he fought a dragon. Some of the kids actually act like verifiers, like the blockchain miners, and says, all right, let's confirm if Tom really fought a dragon. They might ask for proof, and then Tom may be very smart. He hands out some small candies, like the mining fees, to encourage them to spread out stories, to record his kind of the fairy tales to fight the dragons. So once enough people hear and repeat the stories, it becomes recorded into the playground's history. I mean, everybody says, okay, now Tom's actually fought the dragons. Just like a blog being added into the blockchain, Facebook, Twitter, Instagrams act like notes, and also his friend act like notes, keeping the copy of the story. But however, I mean, what if Tom just was making these things up, just kidding about it? If another kid, Alex, proves that Tom was actually at home and playing video games at that day, the network and all the kids reject the false claim. I mean, now they all know the truth, and Tom loses credibility, just like how a dishonest node in the blockchain might get kicked out. Now no one trusts Tom anymore because he actually bribed some nodes and used some candies to let them to recall the fake history, but actually he was playing the video games. So in the blockchain, just like in the playground full of kids that are swiping stories, truth is maintained by a decentralization, verification, and consensus. This is a kind of a very small example that you get some ideas about what is blockchain, how we can play with it. So let's go back to some elements. So some kind of attributes the blockchain is, I mean, what is good at. I mean, we see inside the stories, first there's a ledger. In the blockchain systems, there's a ledger, which is an electronic files that records all the transaction of the records. In the story, in the examples, it's like stories, but actually in the computer science systems, it records the blocks. It will record such as the miner, the which transactions and which address to another address. So actually, all the nodes, they are trying to maintain a public ledger, and also inside the blockchain systems, there's consensus algorithms. I mean, you need to reach consensus for all the nodes. After all the nodes synchronize to the highest block, I mean the up-to-date news, there will be all the ledger information for everyone. I mean, it is a public ledger, everyone can check it. And also for the node, so this ledger is not stored in a centralized institutions, just like a bank node. It's not stored in the bank or in a simple database. I mean, everyone can just change it. It has countless copies, which are network, and each computer is called a node. So all these kind of ledgers, they are public, they are decentralized, they have consensus, and they stored in different nodes. And another interesting element, another interesting things about blockchain, they are multi-center. So having said that, the account book is maintained by a group of computers, I just said. They are not organized by a centralized exchange. They are not organized by centralized organizations. And we see there are some characters about blockchain. First is decentralization. This is very important because nowadays in the world, there are too many centralized organizations, but you want to keep a record, you want to keep a database, you want to keep some information decentralized. This is very important for blockchain. And also you have collective maintenance, you have independent address, you have data transparency, and of course it is immutable to CAC. I will explain it later. Yeah, we just plus everything together. You can see, okay, immutable, transferability, privacy protection, independence, together it will become blockchain. So, okay, we create some interesting tag, we create some interesting, technologies and also theories, to be example. But what can blockchain do? This is actually a very essential problem. If this kind of technology is hard, it's difficult to understand, but it cannot do anything, then we will not learn about it. So what can blockchain do? So these stories begin with rebuilding the financial systems today. So imagine a day that where there are no banks anymore. How would we then create an alternative to the current banking systems? Can we invent a better systems? This is a question actually happens when the first day of the blockchain technology ever occur. So they are trying to say, okay, we have this kind of technology. Can we rebuild a new financial systems? Now, today, for the banking systems, we have some problems. For example, the high transaction fees, the high trust cost, and the risk of centralized storage. All these kind of ideas, we can find some evidence. For example, for the high transaction fees, I think this data from Americas. The JP Morgan Chase, the Bank of America, and Wells Fargo alone earn more than $6 billion from ATM and overdraft fees in 2015. Long days ago. But still, for each transaction, they will take your transaction fees. And these kind of transaction fees are huge. For example, if you want to send $100 to another bank, maybe they will deduct $2 from you for the commission fees and for the transaction fees. And this fees is actually very high. Second, it has really high trust cost. So bank will pay a very high trust cost in order to prevent double spending and account book tampering problems. In this situation, there are a lot of trust transfer costs directly across banks, and the cost efficiencies of manual recognitions are both high trust costs. So this one is very simple to understand. So everyone knows that nowadays we have banks, we have all the electronic systems. But actually today, for example, if you want to send some money from China to Canada, or you want to send some money from China to America maybe, actually, in the end of the day, they still have the manual audit. In the end, they need to do a double check to say, okay, you want to send these dollars to another bank, especially when the money transfer between multiple nations. It's always have the manually to be set up. This is kind of you cannot imagine it. We have computers, we have all the electronic systems, but in the end, when you want to send some money, in the end, you still need people to be audited. So this kind of high trust costs actually come from many stuffs. Actually come from nation to nation, banks to banks, and also come from a lot of audit people to double check if the money is correct. And also the central storage is at risk. I'm not sure if this has happened also in Middle East, but actually in Europe and in America, in the case of the economic depressions or recessions, the centralized mechanism of the banks may fail. So actually a lot of banks are bankrupt. All the depositors' money cannot get back because their money was actually to pay the debt or something. So for the banks, they still may face the problems of bankrupts. And a guy called Satoshi Nakamoto, he think about, okay, maybe you can use the blockchain to create a cryptocurrency called Bitcoins. It is a peer-to-peer electronic cash systems. And let's try to use this technology to rebuild the financial systems, and let's see if this tech is good enough to solve the problems. So blockchain from the first day of the birth to lead to us to discover the innovations that define the rules. So these kind of rules are no longer like the bank rules or the regulations from IMF or the regulations from any centralized organizations. They're trying to say is maybe code is low. I mean, we can use code to build the technology, and we can use the code to do the blockchain tax. And this kind of tax help us to rebuilding the financial systems. So let's see how Satoshi Nakamoto trying to solve the problem. First, this is today's electronic financial systems. We have centralized storage, we have private ledgers, and prone to hacks. And also we may face some problems about double spending. And I think everyone can understand these attributes or these elements about, I mean, these things about today's bank systems. But how blockchain technology can change it? First things, for the centralized storage, all the money and all the data and the information stored in the banks, they are centralized storage. So actually for blockchain, okay, Bitcoins use a distributed ledger systems. We make all the centralized storage to be decentralized storage. Just like the example I just mentioned, all the nodes, all the computers, they actually have the copy of all the ledgers. They got the information decentralized storage in the computers around the world. This is kind of interesting because no longer, I mean, even the one node got bankrupt or one node got failure, it will not be failed for the single point of failure. And second thing is for the private ledgers, for Bitcoin's designs, it actually makes the whole ledger to be public. I mean, everyone can see, I mean, every address, how many Bitcoins he got, how many transactions he made. So everything on the blockchain, they are public now. The distributed ledger is open to everyone. Now you can know that, okay, actually the blockchain bankers, we should say that the Bitcoins, they didn't move my assets. They didn't use my assets into other place. They didn't just play with it. Everything I own is actually defined by rules, and these rules are guaranteed by code. So now we change from the private ledger to public ledger. And for the banking systems, actually they prone to hacks. A lot of attacking systems, they actually attack the bank system today, and a lot of, I mean, fraud and also internal people, they trying to do something bad to our banking systems. But for Bitcoins, it's very interesting. So, I mean, for Bitcoins, they use kind of a little bit, I mean, stupid, I should say, stupid solutions. So they make each block immutable to hack. So for all the transactions that already be done, I mean, you cannot change it. For all the blocks, they are just, I mean, they are just immutable for everyone. For all the nodes, I mean, they just incoming for the ecosystems. They can synchronize about all the ledgers, but all the transactions that they have already done, you cannot change it. So they just change the whole ecosystems, the whole systems to be like, it is immutable to change. And this transaction cannot be tampered with, and it is difficult to be modified by hackers. I mean, they can no longer to hack it. So this kind of solution is working. I mean, maybe it's not that fantasy or it is not that kind of fabulous, but still it is working. And for the double spending problems, this is very common in many financial systems. They need to prevent the double spending problems. What Bitcoin is designed, they use consensus algorithms. Each transactions will not be double spent. It is guaranteed by the consensus mechanisms, and can guarantee all the nodes they play it fair. So this is the whole design of the Bitcoins, and I think it is quite interesting because it built from bottom. They are trying to solve the problems, everything by code, and actually I think nowadays they have already done it. Let's double check with the Bitcoin's innovations. It is the first cryptocurrency, and it used cryptographic encryption method to create and manage accounts. And it created an electronic distributed ledger blockchain. And ledgers can be keeping its update by everyone solving the mathematical problems. So actually the consensus algorithms I just mentioned inside the blockchains, it is proof of work. So each node, they are trying to solve some mathematical problems. And actually, if the first one who solves the problems will actually got the mining fees. So this is a whole ecosystem, the whole systems that first blockchain was occur and first Bitcoin is coming up. Blockchain technology has, also moved forward all the ways and just start its own journeys. Start from here. For Bitcoin, this is the first cryptocurrency and the first times to use the blockchain technology, trying to build some interesting stuff. But after that, we also have Ethereum. We also have smart contract, which are the programs that they are running on a decentralized systems. This kind of smart contract can help us a lot in the contemporary society. Let's see some blockchain innovations today. There are some trivial examples by ourselves. So actually for myself, I'm also a coder. We also have a lot of other co-founders and we build interesting stuff. We build decentralized applications. You only use like 1 or 2 pages, try to explain these kind of things can be done by the blockchain. And later on, I will give you some, I think more fantastic examples about nowadays how other enterprise, how other Web3 projects, they can use the blockchain. So we built, for myself, I built the Selvolutions, many games, and last trips is also winning one of the GDC contest. And also we built some NFTs. This is kind of NFT called Phantom Bear. It is it is created by famous Chinese singer Jay Chou. And also we built some decentralized applications, decentralized games. And this one is called Crystal Cave. And you are able to mine this kind of each blocks. It is a mining game. You can try to mine these blocks from the different blockchain, like from Sui, from Ethereum, from Flow. Everything was on chain. And also we built some boot camps. This is called Chain Castle. It will educate you how to code on the Sui ecosystems. We also ever built some DOPs, digital objects on CKB. It's another similar to the NFT project, but it is digital objects. And also some other Chinese singers, and we build ChainIDE. So for ChainIDE, it is a developed tools. It is a cloud-based integrated development environment that can help the development of smart contract. Nowadays, we have already in more than 180 countries, and we have already helped the builders to compile 8.5 million smart contracts. And we won the first prize of China Blockchain Development Contest in 2020. And this is also a tool that we think it really benefits the ecosystems. And for myself, I travel from the East Asia to Middle East. For example, I also organized Ethereum Shanghai. The co-founder of Ethereum, Vitalik, he also joined us. I do the topics at Vietnam, at Indonesia, also at Pakistan, in Dubai, in Iraq. I think last year I also do one boot camps in Iraq, and also in Jordan, in Egypt, in Turkey, in many places. I do connect with a lot of local developers and the local communities. I think it is quite interesting for Web3 people to go through the Silk Road again and to see different developers around the world. Okay, now let's discuss about today's blockchain innovations. I separated the whole innovations into 2 kinds. The first one is called information synchronization across trusted entities. So this one is more likely to be consortium blockchain, or a lot of government projects, they love to use the blockchain technology just to keep some traceability, to keep some information synchronized. This is also very useful. I have no bias about how we use blockchain, but I will give you several examples about the information synchronization later. But the other part, I think it is the blockchain native innovations. We use code to define some rules, and these kind of rules actually leads us to a brand new market. So I will give you examples about both track, and I hope this can help you understand more about blockchain. The first, the synchronizations of information across trusted entities reduce the marginal cost of users. I will give you 2 examples. The first example is medical traceabilities. So actually, this example is from United Nations. I think they got some initiatives or they got some projects. So one of my alumni from Canada, he joined the United Nations, this project. And this example is very simple. So actually, there are some rich people in Africa. and they face some medical problems. They want to transfer themselves to go back to United States. And now the question is coming. For example, you do the blood test, you do all the treatment in Africa. How you can transfer all your data? I mean, all these data they store in the computer, but how you can transfer all the data directly to America? Nowadays, what they do is they will keep everything like in the paper. They will keep everything to print it, and you cannot just directly share the cloud database to United States hospitals, because all the data about the patients, they are very sensitive. The hospital in Africa cannot directly share the data with United States. That doesn't make sense. And also similar between not only from the Africa to America, even in different hospitals, they do not want to share data because all the data is about patients, their privacy. But how we can solve the problems? Okay, for United Nations, they're trying to build a consortium blockchain, which means that each hospital, they are kind of a node on the blockchain. But they store everything encrypted on the blockchain, but who can open it? I think the people who actually have the right to open it is the patient itself, because all the privacy information, everything related to his blood, to his body, they have the right to themselves. So actually, they give a private key to the patient. So it's just like a password for your banking system. They store everything encrypted on the blockchain. But actually, if you get the private key, you can open your own data. And when you're doing the transfer between hospitals, actually the doctor will store your data on the blockchain, but they will give you the private key. And when you move to America, you can just give your key, like the access to your doctor, because you want him to treat you, right? So it can unlock the patient's own information with a private key after transfer. So it can quickly obtain the patient blood types, allergies, medication, treatment records, and surgery records. It is very useful. And why we cannot use the cloud database to do that? Just like I mentioned, if you use the database to do it, where the database should store the data? Should we store the data in Africa, or we should store the data in America? But I think consortium blockchain actually done a good job in this kind of information synchronization. The second example comes from the judicial evidence. So actually, this is a case in China. We have Beijing and Hangzhou internet courts. So what they are doing is that normally, if they want to do some notarizations, they have the notary office. And if something bad happened, for example, if some wills was changed or anything, actually the notary office need to have their director, they will have their co-director, they will have their employees go to the court and to prove this document is correct or not. This costs them a lot of manpower, and it really, it's a high cost for a lot of stuff. So in the end, the traditional notary office in China, they refuse to make some small deals. They said, okay, it may cause some problems, then we do not want to accept that. But later on, for the internet courts, they are trying to use the blockchain to solve the problems. They said, okay, it's very simple. For each evidence you prove, you go to the notary office, we will store the picture on the blockchain. And this is just like the fingerprints of yourself. We will bring a digital fingerprints for this kind of evidence. And later on, when you want to go to court, when you actually have some problems, if you can bring the fingerprints of the evidence, like the fingerprints of the picture, it is a hash algorithms. It will transfer the image, it will transfer some evidence into some hash algorithms, and it will give you kind of a hash value. If the hash values are similar, then we can directly accept, okay, this evidence is secure, this evidence is stored in the notary office. We can use that as evidence. And it will reduce the cost for the clients, and it will reduce the cost for the notary office. And yeah, for now, for clients, they can deposit more quickly and also at a lower cost. And for the notary office, they use the consortium blockchain to connect their systems, not only with the internet court, and they can accept more clients from normal use. So I think this is a better solutions, more efficient solutions to the traditional notary systems. But I mean, we talk something about consortium blockchain. I think they're good. They solve some problems, but still, I think there are some blockchain native innovations. They are much more interesting. And I will just quote from Arthur Clarke: any sufficient advanced technology is indistinguishable from magic. So I will give you two brand new, showcase about what blockchain can do and how Web3 is interesting. The first case is called Compound, and the second case is called Uniswap. So for Compound, it is like algorithmic autonomous interest rate protocols. So it will unlock the universe of open financial applications. By simple, what I understand about Compound is this is like a Web3 banks. So what's the difference between the traditional banks and the Web3 banks? I can give you some data first. I mean, for Compound today, there are more than, let me count, I think $1,000 million. I mean, like $1 billion or $800 million for the USD. So a lot of assets, especially cryptocurrency, they are stored on this kind of Web3 banks. But why people can trust and how we think this kind of banking system is better? So let me explain how this is different. So actually for Compound, they use, this is called decentralized finance. They are trying to use their code to build their own financial rules. Let's go back to stage one about traditional banks. So how banks can generate the revenues? So, I mean, they will hire some person and they can absorb some saving and lend it to people who need it. And there's a difference between interest. That's how they generate revenues. In China, we have some big banks like Bank of China. They rent a lot of place. They have a lot of bankers, and this kind of bankers can help people to deal with their savings. And they have a lot of big house and also a lot of banking systems to attract people to store their money. This is for the stage 1.0. And of course, we know that the cost is really high. You need to rent a lot of place. Even your banks, you still need to pay the rent, right? And also you need to hire a lot of people. You need to hire a lot of bankers and a lot of BDs to help you to find the money. And there's a stage 2.0. There are some internet banks. I mean, still, they target as a personal finance. They use the AI algorithms to do the risk control. And also they absorb saving and lend. But this kind of stage 2.0, they are related to some apps like Alipay. So in China, we have some Alipays that you will do just like MasterCard, but you can do the payment from online systems. But now they no longer need to rent the place because they do not need to hire so many people. They do not need to rent so many places. They do not have even actual banking systems that can let people to deposit. What they do is they do everything from online. Because they are collaborating with Alibaba, they are Alipay, so they know, okay, this one is a buyer from Alibaba. Okay, they can have their virtual bank account. They can store their money. And we do not have like the buildings anymore. They do not need to go there. They just deposit their money into our internet bank, and we can help them to deal with the revenues. We can lend to the people who need it. This is like stage 2.0. But for the stage 2.0, for the internet banks, they still need to hire some, fantastic AI algorithms. They need to find some AI employees to build the systems that can do the risk management. Otherwise, it will cause a lot of problems. For example, if you lend the money to somebody that they cannot pay back, then it will cause a lot of problems. For the stage 3.0, for decentralized finance, we actually find this kind of protocols, they target some geeks, like coding monkeys like myself, and also they target some old monies. So what they do is they use smart contract to deal with the logic. So all the things inside smart contract is pretty simple. They said, okay, now we will not hire anymore. All the logic, everything is built on the blockchains. So the cost to lend one money or 1 million money, they're exactly the same. How they do that is that we use a code to define the rules. If you want to lend some money from us, then you need to over deposit. For example, you deposit 1 Bitcoin to us, maybe we can give you 70% of the original values, the US dollars to you, because we use Bitcoins as a deposit. But when the money goes down, it will use algorithms just automatically to clear the debt. So for the stage 3.0, we see the main difference that even now, I mean, after they build the whole system, they do not even need the engineers to do the AR risk, management. They do not need to do anything about it. They just absorb the saving from the cryptocurrency and then lend the money automatically, and everything was done by smart contract. I think this is very interesting because nowadays they do not need the buildings, different from stage 1. And also they do not need the engineers anymore because everything on the blockchain, they are immutable. They just keep the same logic. They can let all the business to be running. This is like stage 3.0. And then also everyone can trust them. Why? Because everything, every contract, every regulations on the blockchain, they are transparent. They are public. So everyone can verify it. People will know that, okay, you didn't move my money to other place because everything I deposit is actually inside the protocol. You cannot move my money to other place unless, the price of the Bitcoins or price of the Ethereums, they got bankrupt, then you can get my money. You can take it away. Otherwise, I store the money there, I lend the money from you. You can only give me the money when the clearance happens. So this is transparent, they build a trust, it is automatic, they do not need engineers anymore, and also they do not need the actual buildings. This is like stage 3.0. That's why a lot of people, they actually put their money inside compounds. This is very interesting. Another magic example I want to say is about Uniswap. I think Uniswap is one of the most famous examples in decentralized finance. So what it did, so actually we see some news first. So Uniswap sets new records with like 38 billion months trading volumes. And the second thing is like Uniswap, they have over 1 trillion worth of crypto transactions since the exchange have launched in 2018. So Uniswap is what? It's actually the AMM, automatically market making systems. You can think like they are NASDAQ, they are like the stock exchange, they are centralized. So the clients want to use NASDAQ, what they will do is they will have a bid and they will have an ask. You can put your deals on the centralized stock exchange like NASDAQ or New York Stock Exchange. When the price they're equal, then you can let the trade happen. And all these centralized exchanges, they need people to have bid and ask. But for Uniswap, for this kind of decentralized systems, it's very interesting. They said, okay, now we have smart contract. We have a bot can do everything for you. It's very simple. The constant, the math equations behind it is just one line. It's like x times y equal a constant. So when people buy some assets more, then the price will go up automatically. It's not manually. There's no bid and ask. It will automatically go up. And when people sell some products, it will automatically go down. And every money, every liquidity is stored in the pool. All the liquidity is stored in the protocol. It's stored in the smart contract. Nobody can touch it, and everything it just transacts transparent, fairly, and automatically. This is what's happened for the Uniswap. They build a decentralized exchange. But the most magic ones is that this is the version 1 of Uniswap's code, all the smart contract code. It is less than 500 lines of code. Actually, it is 496 lines of code, but they can down 1 trillion transactions in swaps. We all know that nowadays, no matter NASDAQ or Hong Kong Exchange or London Exchange, any this kind of exchange, they also have their electronic systems. They hire so many people, they spend so much money, but in blockchain, in Web3, with the help from smart contract, we done 1 trillion transactions owning less than 500 lines of code. This is the magic of the code, the magic of smart contract, and the magic of blockchain. because all the infras, they are building on a decentralized ecosystems. All the users, they do not need to open account anymore. They have MetaMask, they have their own node, they have their own wallet. They can access to the protocols directly. They do not need KYCs because everything on the blockchain they are addressed, and they can swap by themselves. And everything is fair. Nobody can scam you, and also the transaction fee is much more lower. So this is what's happened for Uniswap. I think this is kind of incredible. And if you want, maybe you can Google it. And this is the beauty of decentralized finance. And another thing I want to mention is NFTs. So actually, we see for some blockchain native innovations, they are trying to create some new stuff. I mean, in these times, I cannot explain like, okay, this is the traditional banks, then we have a Web3 banks. This is a traditional exchange. We have a decentralized exchange. For NFTs, Web3 people just build something brand new by themselves. So what is NFT? So NFT is actually a non-fungible token. It is a type of digital asset typically used to store and trade unique digital content on the blockchain, such as digital art, audio, video, game items. Unlike the traditional currency and cryptocurrency, NFTs are unique and non-interchangeable. As each NFT has its own unique identifier, it will give it to individually. So, I mean, I think for NFTs, I can just give you one example. You will understand what is NFT and what is FT. So for fungible tokens, they are just like the normal money you are using. For example, I lend you $1. You can give $1 back. I mean, that is reasonable. And also maybe I give you $1. You can give me 50 cents back first, and you can give me 50 cents back again. I mean, it is equal. This is fungible tokens. But for non-fungible tokens, for example, this crypto kitties, this is like the kitties on the blockchains. It is a picture, but it also has some metadata. For example, it has genes about their tails. It have some genes about their eyes. It have genes about their skin colors. All the things are stored inside the NFTs. But you cannot give me, for example, I lend you one crypto kitties. This cute kitties on the blockchain. You cannot give me half kitties back. That doesn't make sense. I mean, for fungible tokens, you can pay me 50% back first. But for the crypto kitties, you neither give me my whole cat back or you just keep it. I mean, you cannot give me half back. This is non-fungible tokens. And yeah, there are a lot of digital arts nowadays. They are creating use NFTs. For example, this is a first upper. They are trying to have a lot of elements and a lot of characters inside. This is done by another artist, and they are trying to build this first upper on the blockchain. The main body of the first upper is a master. I mean, they have a main canvas, and there's a composition of 22 layers, and 13 artists, they do the collaborative creations. So actually, each element inside these kind of pictures, it is changeable. It is changed by the smart contract. I mean, this new field of programmable art is being gradually established by the crypto artist. These kind of artists, you cannot define their values as traditional artists. I mean, you do not say that, okay, this picture is done by Van Gogh, so it worth a lot. I mean, in this smart contract, in this kind of crypto artists, the values is actually judged by the communities. This is very different. I mean, we create something brand new. It's different from normal arts. And nowadays, all these kind of NFTs, they are booming. We see BIYC, they collaborate with Adidas. We see Tiffany, they collaborate with CryptoPunk. And also we see the international IOC, International Olympic Committee, they issue their own NFTs. And also we see Visa, they also buy some CryptoPunks. And in general, we can see that the Web2 world reach the Web3 users through NFTs. And all the brands I mentioned here, like Disneyland, like Dior, like McDonald's, like TikTok, like Oreos, like NBA, all these brands, they already done something with the NFTs. This is quite interesting because we think that NFTs now is kind of connections between the Web2 world and Web3 world. This is also a blockchain native innovations because these things have never been occurred before, but it is occurred by our Web3 builders. It is simple. The Web3 explosions, it's reshaping the internet as we know. I see some friends has raised a hand. Shall we leave it in the end of the story? I mean, when I finish the presentation, in the end we do the QA. Is that good, or you want to do it now? Okay, better.
I think we should leave it to the end.
Okay,
We can
sure.
continue, yeah.
Okay, we have our final chapter. This one is simple. So let's thinking about the blockchain in the future. I mean, now we first explain what is blockchain. We give some interesting examples, and we explain some blockchain innovations today. And more importantly, I want to think about some blockchain in the future. I will jump a little bit. I mean, in general, you keep it in mind. For blockchain technology, we use a code to define the rules. We can see centralized systems, they have coinage, they have banking systems, they have exchange, they have insurance. In the Web3 world, we have Bitcoins first, and then we have Ethereum, and we have Uniswap, this act like exchange. We have MakerDAO, we have Compound, they act like banks. And also we have YFI, we have Curve, we have different kind of stable coins to act like the centralized world. So what we are building, I mean, all Web3, they are growing up so fast because they use code to define our own rules. These rules are not done by some committee, they are done by the code. And there are a lot of criticisms about blockchain. I mean, a lot of people, they said blockchain, they are not landing, they are not practical. I mean, they are procedural science. They are not very scientific, and a lot of people also said owning can be tampered with. It is useless, and a lot of people also criticize about blockchain, says it can only do data traceability. But from here, I want to say we should see some. We should be visionary. We should be dreamers. We should see something in the future, not today. I quote from Wild Oscar, we are all in the gutter, but some of us looking at the stars. We need to look at the stars. Let me try to explain. So now we know the blockchain temporary attempt in the financial industry. We already see that the blockchain technology can do the clearing and settlement, can do the cross-border payment, can do the supply chain finance, they can do ABS. Okay, I jump a little bit. They can do digital bills. They can do credit investigations. They can do asset custody, and they can do the decentralized ID, like the user identity, the account identifications. It is kind of useful, but all these innovations are in the financial industry. I think it is good. I mean, at least we see some enterprise and also some giants like Tesla profit gets 600 million Bitcoins boost. I mean, a lot of people buy Tesla and Tesla buy Bitcoins. I mean, already trying to put their hand on the new cryptocurrency. And also we see the president of the United States, Donald Trump, he also issued his own meme tokens. So actually the Web2 world, they are accepting Web3. This is good in this way, but now the majority of the innovations are from the majority of the innovations are in the financial industry. But I think this is not the truth, or this is not the majority things we should done with blockchain. The giant of internet companies are pulling a package of multi-nation companies to see the future place for the future 10 years. That's why they touch the blockchain. We understand that. But from my point of view, all blockchain attempts in the financial industries are just very small and cautious attempts. What I mean, we should imagine like in the future, more than 90% of human activities can be in the virtual world. We also have some evidence to do that. I remember there's a report like before television was invented, and the majority of people want to go outside and play football. But after television was invented, around 50% people already love to stay at their homes and looking at the virtual world. I mean, looking at some cinemas, looking at some interesting films, or looking at some virtual podcasts or something. And after the cell phones was invented, after the computer was invented, now more and more people actually more focused on the virtual world. And in the future, I think just like we see in some movies, like for Matrix, actually in the future, the majority of people may live in the virtual world. This is what we see. This is like the vision we have. In such a virtual civilizations, economy and currency are defined definitely very important, but rules and systems are more critical in this world. For example, there's a hacker. I mean, this hacker was from America. His name is called Kevin Mitnick. He was banning from the internet, and the judge said we should not let these people never touch a keyboard or never touch computers, because he is so genius hackers, and if he touch the keyboard, it will damage the whole internet systems. So in the future, actually, if you want to ban someone from the internet, it's kind of just like exile in Siberia today. I mean, it will just exile him. You can never touch internet anymore. So, I mean, in the future, these kind of regulations will be cruel if you just ban someone from internet. But this is the sociology meaning for blockchain technology. So blockchain technology for transparent law enforcement. So blockchain enhances transparency in law enforcement, and also smart contract can enable automated executions of the rules. So in a virtual world, there are no centralized enforcement agency, weird force, yet credibility and rules enforced remaining essential. This is the sociology significance of blockchain, because you need the blockchain to define the rules, to execute the rules, to automatically and transparent to do some banning for the bad guys, to do some swap with some trade, to do some to do anything, to do some creations about your own code. All this kind of stuff should be secured by blockchain. And of course, your cryptocurrency should be your normal currency. Maybe in the future, you also need the blockchain to keep it secure and to keep it solid. And just a few more slides. Actually, the emergence of the blockchain technology has opened up new possibilities in the future. And by leveraging the code, we can establish an open, transparent, and self-executing system of rules that everyone can monitor. Everyone can monitor is also very important. We do not want to face some problems in the future. So these frameworks fosters consensus across the trusted boundaries and laying the foundations for a shared future in the visual civilizations. And the sociology significance of the blockchain is very important. So when I was a student, when I was a student, I was learning some AI. And my professor told me that the development of technology had different meanings in physics and also in sociologies. So when I first learned AI, my professor told me that the AI nowadays can recognize salmon and sea bass. At that time, I said, okay, AI is so fantastic, but why we need the AI to help us to define who is salmon, which is salmon, which is sea bass? It's pretty simple. We can find a fisherman, he can do everything like that. But the sociology of AI, because in the future, we believe that there are a bunch of robots, they can help us to cook, for all the humans, we can obtain countless labors, by the robots. That's why AI is very important. Even nowadays, we just build it step by step, because in the sociology, it has a meaning. So that's why we need to build it. And also same for the aerospace technologies, because in the future, we believe that we can looking forward to discover more terrestrial planets, just like Earth. We can have more resource. That's why we need to build the aerospace technologies. Once the ultimate goals of the technology has meaning in sociology, every bit of effort made meaningful today. Now, VR, AI, and brain computer technology are under continuous development. I cannot imagine a future without blockchain. We cannot, live in the virtual world. We cannot have the metaverse if we do not have the blockchain technology. This is very important nowadays. We keep building the blockchain and keep building Web3. And in the end, in the treatment of blockchain technology, we should not constrained by the existing cognitions and external bias to limit our imaginations, limit innovations, or even extinguish our ambitions to change the world. Actually, I do have faith in blockchain. That's why I keep doing it for 8 years. We're all in the gutter, but some of us should look at stars. That's it. That's my topic today, and I'm open for more questions. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Wu.
Thank you.
We can start the questions now.
Yeah. Do you want to type it, or everybody can just ask?
1 second. Surah, are you there?
Hello, yes, I'm here.
You can take it from here.
Okay. Actually, I have a question.
Okay.
Where can me or anyone else begin learning?
I think there are a lot of public materials nowadays. So, to be honest, nowadays the problem is about there are very few learners, very few people they actually want to learn things. But actually now a lot of resources they are open source nowadays. Even people in China they didn't get into the top universities, but they still can access the course from Princeton. Actually Princeton, Stanford, MIT, Harvard, they all have open source online. And also for blockchain, they are more transparent and more open. You can find a lot of course, from Europe schools, from Chinese schools, from American schools, and also there are a lot of forms. For example, you can go to ethereum.org, the Ethereum Foundations. They also have their learning materials, and also there are a lot of boot camps and a lot of webinars we have already done from ChainIDE. You can go to ChainIDE.com. You can see all this is recorded, seminars, boot camps. I hope that will be helpful. Yeah.
Okay. Another question about the outside world, not in Iraq. There is a lot of opportunities of work in blockchain and Web3.
Yeah, I think nowadays, there are the two hype. Maybe they are overhyped, but the most two energetic track in computer science nowadays. The first one is AI. We all know that recently they have DeepSeek, they have ChatGPT. A lot of people they're getting jobs in the AI industry. And second one is Web3. So because we all know that even President of the United States, they have issued their own meme tokens. Memes are not that good, but still it is impactful. And also we see they are trying to set up their own regulations around the world. We also see the Web3 in Dubai, in Europe, in China, in Hong Kong, in Singapore, they are booming up. So I do think there are a lot of positions there. But to be honest, I think the entry bars becomes higher and higher because there are a lot of smart people around the world. We see a lot of students, even from Cambridge, from Oxford, from Hong Kong University, from the top universities. After they graduate, they try to learn fintech, they try to learn Web3, and they enter this industry. So actually the entry bar is different from when I was entry like 8 years ago. But still there are opportunities and still there are chances. Yeah.
And can the developer of Web3 work at home? Remotely or something?
Of course. Actually, this is the beauty of Web3. I think the majority of the Web3 work, they are remote and virtually, I think. Yeah, nowadays, yeah.
Very nice. Should I turn on their microphones, Sarah?
Sure. You're a host. It's all good for me, yeah.
We already have a question in chat, and Murtada, if you want, you can open your mic and ask. Okay, should we start with the question in chat?
Oh, I see. Hussein Malik has one question. What's your opinions about our startup ecosystem and what opportunities we must capture to solve our core problems like banking system, digital infras with blockchains? Do you personally or others from Asia interested in our ecosystem? How can we collaborate more to innovate together? Thank you. Okay. So actually, I'm not that I mean, I'm not that deep in Iraq yet. I travel there, I do some boot camps here, but actually I have no ideas about the banking systems. I think everything is working in Iraq, right? Because when some countries I travel to, like Lebanon, I think their central bank are bankrupt. So all the banks there are not working. So some Web3 companies actually help the people there, because all the banks there they're closed and they cannot get their money out. So I know Binance and also some chain like the Chance, they have some sites here and people using the cryptocurrency. But I think for Iraq everything is kind of stable. I mean, it's not yet, but still there are a lot of opportunities. I use banking systems as examples because we all know that banks are very valuable and it is a huge problem and it can change a lot. But actually blockchain technology can do a lot more. I mean, they can do games, they can do DAO, they can do DeFi, they can do many stuff, not only in the banking system. But what I think is, because in MENA, I know there are different countries. For example, in Turkey, their banking systems nowadays, they are trying to accept the cryptocurrency also deposit, because they know that a lot of Russian funds, they run away from Russia, they go to Turkey, and they bring Bitcoins there. And for the banking system there, they said, now we want to be open, we want to welcome you to do some, to buy a house here, and we can let your bank account also have a one-way terminal to deposit your Bitcoins. I think that is why it's also very interesting. But I mean, I'm not very familiar with Iraq local systems, but I love to learn. And also I love to learn from you to know what's happening there. And maybe the more important is what's the problems? We are trying to solve the problems, right? What's the problems? Why we need blockchain? We do not want to just use blockchain because it is a new technology. We want to use the technology to solve some problems. I think that is more practical. And for Mustafa, I said, so how can blockchain address scalability issue and handle the increasing volume of data? So interesting. So like I keep saying, I think blockchain is the technology. The beauty of that, it can create the trust. It is not the technology just like the cloud. I mean, like cloud computing or edge computing or AI. They are trying to handle the high scalability of data. I mean, blockchain can handle some data, but they want to handle it decentralized. They want to handle it in a transparent way. So actually, there are two directions. I think for this part, if you really want to deal with, the high volume data, maybe you can try the data pool. Maybe you can try the Elasticsearch. Maybe you can try the high performance computing. But for blockchain, I think they want to make it secure. They want to make it decentralized. They want to make it solid. Just like even 1/3 of the nodes are down, still the money are safe and people can use it decentralized and they can see the logic. This is the beauty of the blockchain.
Very well.
Can you explain the code? Oh, can you explain the code? You said more than 90% of human activities were done virtually in the future. No, this is not code, but this is a vision that we should have, because nowadays, I think more attentions nowadays, if we have PCs, we have computers, we have cell phones, all we are trying to look at, they are virtually. This is actually it has happened. This is a trending. Because before we have computers, we can only go outside to have footballs or we have dinners. But nowadays, more and more activities, for even our work, they are remotely. Even our work, they are virtually. So we need to survive in the world, we need to focus on the virtual world. So I think in the future, maybe with the brain-computer interactions, it's just like a matrix, we can live in the virtual world. And in the real world, we will just do limited of stuff, just like eating or sleep or something. So I think this is the future. So
that's very scary for me.
I'm not sure, but actually, I think it has happened because we do have the AI. The AI can do a lot of stuff for us, and we do have robots now. A lot more robots. They are trying to do the works for us, and we do have a lot kind of automatic cars you can drive for us. So I think for us, we do not need to. Maybe we do not need to work that much in the future. Maybe for human beings, we just enjoy our lives and do some entertainment and also do few innovations when we want, but the majority of us maybe enjoy some video games, enjoy TikTok or something. Maybe that's a case.
We hope so.
Yeah. Yeah, and from Najis Ali Atia, I have two questions. Can blockchain improve the microservices discover and orchestrations, reducing dependency on traditional service registrations? How can future institutions combine zero trust architecture with blockchain to enhance cybersecurity? So yeah, I think the first question is very important. It's very interesting. I think it is very important because nowadays, for all the people that we live in the Web 2 world, I mean the internet world, we need to register for so many times. For example, if I want to use Google, I need to register a new account. If I want to see the YouTube, I need to register a new account. If I want to do anything, I need to do the Google Auth, everything. I need to create a new account. But actually, this is very painful for the users because we should only have one account. These kind of internet companies should ask access from us. We should not create an account for them. They should ask permissions for us, then they can provide services for us. This is the idea from Web3. I mean, all the decentralized infras actually can create their own identity, and this identity represent yourself. And if we can all use these kind of systems, because this systems is decentralized, they have nodes everywhere, so we do not need to register a new account anymore. I mean, whenever a new game is coming, they ask some permission from us, then we directly go inside. You do not need to know my cell phones. You do not need to know my credit card. You do not need to know my anything. I mean, we can store all our data inside the smart contract, and we can give grant to different services we need. And we do not need to, I mean, waste so many databases. For each internet companies, they need to have their database to store all the registrations, to store everything. So I think this is very important. For Web3, there's a specific track called decentralized ID. They are trying to solve the problems. Decentralized ID systems. Second question, and how can financial institutions combine zero trust architecture with blockchain to enhance cybersecurity? So I think this question is quite different because for the zero trust architecture, they are working for some depths, just like what I said. For Compound, we only want to make sure that you deposit enough money, then we can lend you money because you already deposit enough money. We know that you are rich enough. And in the smart contract, we will not touch your money. We can lend you. This is automatically. This is very good. But for a lot of centralized, exchange or for a lot of centralized institutions, they are not that. How to say it? They cannot accept this concept yet. I mean, they still need KYC, they still need your ID, they still need your passport, they still need everything. So I don't think they can accept that. But I think the world is changing. I mean, the world is changing. A lot of countries they are trying to accept Web3. Even I remember that in Hong Kong, actually they have an immigrants plan. Now they can accept Bitcoins and Ethereums as the deposit to secure that, okay, this guy is safe. I mean, he has the money to survive in Hong Kong. We can accept him. So now I think more and more centralized governments, they are trying to accept that, but we are not here yet. And thank you for the introductions. My question is, what's the risk of blockchain that you need to be top priority to be solved? What are risks of blockchain that you think need to be top priority to be solved? I think, yeah, definitely there are some risks about blockchain, especially these times. No one can back up you. You need to understand that. In the Web3 world, your private key is your only key. You need to keep your assets. You need to be responsible for your asset. We all know that if you forget the password about the bank, you can call the customer service and say, okay, I can provide my ID, I can find my password back, I still get my money. But in the Web3 world, I mean, you need to have your private key because there's no centralized organizations. No one will be your backup. You can have your privacy, you can have your own data, you can have your own assets, but you need to be responsible for yourself. If you forget your own private key, you cannot open your account anymore. So this is, I think, is very important especially for the new incomers in Web3. For a lot of experienced coders and for a lot of experienced users, we know the private key are very important. But for some new users, I face a lot of one. I mean, they forgot the private key, they forgot the wallet, they cannot access to their asset anymore. This is actually not be scammed by the bad guy, but they just forgot. But because of the code, because of the technologies, it is immutable to hack. So, I mean, if you forgot, it is really gone. So I think this is very important for new incomers. Yeah. Second question, as a researcher, where do you think the good topics of blockchain and researchers should work on? Yeah, this is very interesting. I think recently, it depends on you are nature science or social science. I think for nature science, more and more kind of innovations, they are happening on the computer science, especially for the consensus algorithms, for the cryptography, and for some high performance virtual machines, for this kind of stuff. This is for the nature science. But for some social science, we see a lot of meme tokens, and we also see a lot of regulations happen in Europe, and a lot of kind of NFTs and fashions. So there are different tracks. I think as a researcher, if you are in the nature science, track, maybe you can focus on some computer science related topics like cryptocurrency, like cryptographic encryptions, elliptic algorithms. A lot of this kind of stuff may have some outcome. Are Bitcoin transactions traceable? Of course, it is traceable. If not, it could be used as payment or illegal. Yeah, all the Bitcoin's transactions are traceable. I mean, because I already explained, I mean, for the ledger, I mean, it is open, it is transparent, it is traceable from account A to account B. Everyone can double check. In our industry, we have one word said, do not trust, just verify. But if you want to say that if this address can link to some real man, if I can know his IDs, if I can know his passport, then it is not traceable, because everything in the Web3 world, they are privacy. You have your address, and this address represents you have the money, but it is not related to the real world. Maybe when you do some cash out, for example, you want to do the OTCs inside some exchange, maybe the exchange will have your information. But actually for the blockchain systems, it is purely decentralized, purely privacy systems. That's it. Yeah, okay. I think that's all the questions. If you have more questions, just willing to ask. Maybe
Mics are on if anyone wants to ask.
Mhm.
Well, I do have a personal question. I personally do have a question.
Sure.
You just said that one disadvantage is private key loss for users. Are there any more disadvantages to blockchain/cryptocurrency use?
A disadvantage. Of course, I think still nowadays, especially for the Bitcoins, for some major blockchains, the transaction fees are not that cheap, because there are a lot of people in the world they are using it. I mean, they need to synchronize the data around the world. I think compared to some cross-nation payment, for example, I want to send the money from China to Canada, the payment, I mean, it's cheap. They may cost you like $100. But except from that, maybe during your nations to do some payment nowadays, the transaction fees for the blockchain, for example, to send one Bitcoins to another may cost you like 200 or 300. I think the transaction fee is still high nowadays because there are too many people there. They are in the systems. It is crowded. But for some altcoin, for some altchains like Tron, like layer 2 chains, I mean, it is cheaper. Like Polygon, I mean, everything is cheaper. Yeah.
Yeah, but with time, it's gonna get cheaper, even the popular currencies.
What? Would you pardon me?
I said with time, if it gets more popular, the exchange rate is gonna be cheaper.
Yeah, so this is I think this question is very good. It's also related to the previous ones. So actually nowadays in our industry, some researchers, they are trying to discover new consensus mechanisms, new consensus algorithms that can accelerate the process, can make all the transactions to be cheaper, and also they want to create new ways to be scalable for not only for Ethereum but also for Bitcoins, to make everybody can use it. Just like some of the solutions like Lightning Network. Lightning Network is very interesting. It says, okay, we want to create some Lightning Network. It will just like very cheap fees, but it will not happen on the Bitcoin mainnet. It will open a Lightning channels between two single point of people. And for example, you just want to buy a coffee and you open a channel with a coffee shop, and you will just sign the contract, just like you sign the bills. And in the end, when everything's happened, for example, after 1 month, you all agree that you pay like 0.1 Bitcoins to the coffee shop. And in the end, it will sync all the data to the mainnet. But it is very useful for some small business. So, I mean, people are trying to find out new innovative way to scale the decentralized network. And this is, yeah.
That's very interesting. Yeah.
Mhm. Cool.
Any more questions, guys?
Oh, thank you for listening, and I hope this will help you to get general ideas about Web3 and blockchain, and know the tech and know the use case. I think this is very important. Yeah.
Sir, do you have anything to say?
Thanks a lot, Mr. Xiao, for giving us your time and efforts for this session. I know, and everyone have a great time and new information. And I hope all of you guys satisfy your curiosity with the Web3 and blockchain today. Thanks a lot.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. See you guys. Have a good day. Bye bye.
Thank you very much.
Bye-bye.
We're happy to see.
Guys, سنحكي عربي. شو يسموها؟ مال الحضور يعني هنا مثبت، فإذا هاي بس إنه تسجل الحضور أنا لازم أروح. مع السلامة.
شكرا لكم على الحضور. أتمنى إنه تونستوا، كان اكو هواية معلومات. أنا شخصيا استفادت هواية هماتين. فورم الحضور إن شاء الله ندز لكم شهايد الحضور ورا كم يوم، وتابعونا على المنصات إذا متابعينا. شكرا هواي، شكرا لك، عاشت إيدكم وإيدك العاشة، تونسنا بحضوركم.